Today, for the monthly Dhamma talk, I have invited Most Venerable Kalutara Mitta. I have known him for few years actually. I think during last Vasana period, he observed Vasana period in Redbridge Buddhist Vihara. So a lot of people asked me to introduce him to our audience. Last year also he has contributed for our Dhamma Friends talk. This year he has observed in retreat. He was invited by some Bodhi Dayakas for observing retreat. During this period he is doing a great service for the community. I have this opportunity to invite him. Kindly he accepted my invitation. He is a good meditation teacher and a Dhamma teacher, doing counseling and giving so many talks for our community in East London area. This monthly Dhamma sermon, the Dhamma talk, last few months we didn't have due to this Dhamma talk day is connected with the other programs. So this month, especially this Vasana period, first monthly Dhamma talk, I have gratefully invited him today. The talk which has been suggested by Mitta, the Buddha, how Buddha resolved the biggest mystery in the universe. With my respect, I would invite to Bhante to deliver your talk today.
Okay. This is okay. මේක ළඟට ගන්න ඕනද මයික් එකද නැත්නම් මොකද දෙකේ මම ගන්නවා හොඳයි
කොයි තත්ත්වේ ඇහිමයි
ඇහිනේ එහෙමයි okay. Can you hear me through the speakers?
Yes.
Okay. So I should thank you, Most Venerable Sir, my senior Bhante, who was very kind enough to bring me here, invite me for a Dhamma talk. And actually that is a bigger part of my coming here, coming to England for Vasa retreat, because my language skill is can be used to propagate Dhamma more in Western countries like this. And actually my coming to England is for that. Because if I want to stay a good Vasana, I should stay in Situlpava where I am staying right now. Because it is probably you know about it. It's the vast area of forest monastery, thousands of acres, which is about 40 kilometers from cities in down south, which has been inhabited by 12,000 enlightened ones 2,300 years ago, and follows by other Theros. When I meditate there, I feel that is the Jayabhumi for me. Because for somebody to have a little bit of a discussion about that, for somebody to be successful in his practice meditation, karmically a land is ready for you on the planet Earth. You need to find it. Even if you don't find, it will come to you, and you will have to be really vigilant about it. How do you know that you have come to the land? That's again through the meditation. In certain, I have my personal experience is that when the land is not good for you, you can't, your meditation is not very successful. But you come to the proper land, it happens like this. So we are bonded karmically to this world. We are not dependent, we are always interdependent and interconnected. So my coming here to England is actually for our younger generation. It's a very open truth that Sri Lankan families lose their children from their native religion. They are abandoning everything very fast. Not fault of them, fault of our systems. Because when they are born here, when they grew here, they are getting mixed with the different culture, which is mostly not accepted by parents, and their language and other barriers, other shocks are there for them not to come to their own religion. Then that way our most venerable Pante is doing a great task by conducting Thera-Sermons in English. And also it's good that lots of youngsters were present in this hall for discussion, because their attitude is to ask questions. I always compare our native Sri Lankans have a habit of swallowing like pythons and crocodiles. When some monks say something, they say sadhu is swallowed. This is not the audience Buddha wanted. Buddha wanted someone to see it, let's chew it, bite it, taste it, smell it. Still you have the access of whether you want to swallow it or not. You can spit it out or you can swallow it. The education here in this country, in most of the Western countries, is such that they don't teach children. They teach children how to learn. That is where they keep on asking questions. Unless something doesn't make sense, they don't accept it. That is the exact crowd Buddha wanted. Because if you have those filters in front of you before you take it in, whatever goes in is the juice and the essence of Buddha's teachings. Because they ask questions. So, but I don't think I use my full capacity and my ambition, my determination coming here. And wherever I go, I have a few minutes talk given, and I see those people are overwhelmed and they like to listen to me, because I always work with their culture. I don't go against it, because the compassion is that if something is different from you, got to respect it. When they feel that respect, they respect us too. But today, I'm not very worried about the number of people present here and the number of seats empty. Because in Sri Lanka, in Ratnapura, a gem city, they need to dig out, throw out tons of sand and mud, and they find only 1 or 2 gems. That's fine. And the first sermon of Buddha, he had only 5 people in front of him. He was not worried, because it's naturally so. So today, I thought of talking to you something very important, and I think that is the most important thing in Buddhist teachings. And also I want to tell you something, that this religion, have you ever encountered the word ism, Buddhism, Hinduism? This ism to me is a global conspiracy to divide people. Yes, when I say I am a Buddhist, everybody else is non-Buddhist. You have separated them from you. Look at those wars and bloodsheds happening right now. almost nuclear bombs exploding, destroying thousands and thousands of lives and properties. The property they built in thousands of years are smashed and flattened in a fraction of a second. And the cause? Religion. See? The religions nowadays have done more bad than the good to people. So, my personal idea is if something called religion is going to divide us apart, we don't want it. We need something for us to unite together. Yes?
Yeah.
That is what religions are doing to people these days. Then what is Buddha's teachings? Some people call it a psychology, some people call it a theory, for some people it's a religion, for some people it's a way of life, and for some people it's a philosophy. But actually Buddha's teaching is none of them. It's called Dhamma. Dhamma is the real mechanism of the nature. He never invented anything. If he invented something, probably have taken the rights. What rights they are called? When you start something origin, they take for anybody else not to copy? Patent rights. He didn't take because it was not his. That was a mechanism that is hidden in the nature. He was so wise to find out what is beneath and showed it to the world, just like Albert Einstein did on materialistic side of it, but he showed the elementary side of it, where the reality is happening behind the screen is there where the elementary world begins. And the biggest problem was how to convince people with those theories. So when Buddha was here, when he became, the Bodhisattva became Buddha, he was the only Buddhist. And it took 2 months for the world to receive 5 more Buddhists. By that time, imagine his father and his wife, anyone from Sakya clan was no Buddhist. They're all Brahmins. Brahmanism is a kind of a religion in India. They have been there for thousands of years. They're very strong. But in front of the truth, all those false theories that have been there for thousands of years is going to die. And it starts from one by one, and spread in India. That time it's called Jambudvipa, in very fast, because those Brahmins were truth seekers. They were seeking some kind of a liberation. And all of a sudden here we have a person who tells us what the path of liberation. And 2,600 years passed almost. We had no philosopher, no scientist came forward to say that this part of what his teachings is wrong. This part is to be modified. This part is little more. This part is little less. Nobody touched his teachings. Why? Because those were the absolute truths. So, this is not a religion. This is Dhamma. So it is obvious that the people who love religions would not love Dhamma. That's why you are here today. That's okay. I want to start my talk by telling you a nice story. This is a forum conference of, we have all the kind of conference about peace and all kind of things. Things that normal people can't solve. So Buddhist monk was invited. So after the forum, everybody was fascinated to see a person in robes, because the people come there in ties and coats and things like that. The robe is very specific. So guys approached him and he introduced himself. I'm a representation for USA. Okay, fine. So what do you think, monk? This global warming, what we discussed today, is the biggest problem in the whole world? No, I don't think so, monk said. What do you mean? Is it arm race? Not actually. Are you talking about the nuclear doctrine, modern doctrine? No. Is it pollution? I don't think so. So what is it? Who are you? Monks asked. Well, I'm a representation for USA. That's your job. Well, I'm a reporter. That's what you do here. Let me say I'm Mr. Smith. That's your name. So I'm a married man. That's your marital state. Yes? Okay, I'm a man. That's your sex. Let me say I'm a human. That is your existence. Can I call me human? Okay, that's where you have come here. Existence. So, who are you? I don't know. That is the biggest problem in the whole universe, man. If one can solve this, he has solved all the problems in the whole universe, the monk said. So today our talk is on the biggest mystery in the whole universe. Who am I? Yes? And the Buddha, 2,600 years ago, under this asata tree, he was meditating on a heap of grass. And by midnight he found out, who am I? With very plain statements, we are going to discuss this today. So, in Western world it is called self. Yes, actually more rooted version is soul. And commonly it is said self. When you go to India it is Atma. And you give it more divine state, Atman. But in Pali it's Atta. Whatever it is said by various names. If someone understand I, he the one who goes to liberate from I. As far as nobody understand I, seeking liberation through this literature and reading books, coming to forums, listening to these Dhamma talks, nobody goes nowhere. It is a solution that we need to find on our own. We all have names, yes. If your name is called by someone, even when you are in a town, you always turn your neck and see who called me. Maybe there are two people in the same place by the same name, but every time that name is called, both people look at it. Imagine you are not given a name from your parents. Can you just tell me what will happen to you? No name man.
Nobody knows.
Yes? I like some responses from you. Tell me what will happen if you have no name.
No identity.
No identity. How can you express yourself when you go somewhere? It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Possible.
Your identity disappears, the identity card disappears, passport disappears. Yeah, nobody accepts you here. Because you have no valid identity, no bank accounts, right? No NHS registration, no insurance, nothing. So you will be a person who will be thrown out of this human society. Isn't that so?
Yeah.
Yes. So see our name, how it plays in our life, in this world. Have you ever thought about how powerful our name is? Name has given you a place in this world. That name covers the most part of I. That name. Its name is being heavily decorated by giving you a surname, and in Sri Lanka we have so many names. Yeah, and finally, on the birth certificate when you have so many names, but at home you given a pet name again, one more. When you go into friends, they give you another name. When you have an affair with a girl or a boyfriend, they have a lovely another name. When you get married, they always make it short. Right? A name in front of honey or something like that. You see the world of names. And if this chair never had a name, what would you do with this? How would you explain something to someone? How would you order someone to bring this to you? Names and world of names. That is, yes?
Thing.
Yes, that is how we have fortified this world. Right? Not with things and beings. All names. A name has a meaning. And any meaning has a name. Just go like twins. So why? What's wrong with not understanding who am I? What's wrong? Because do we have to do it because the Buddha says it? Buddha wants us to do it? What's wrong? Living like this, we don't know who I am, it's okay. What's wrong with it?
No sense of purpose.
No, just throw out the religion part of it. You think that you are a Christian or someone else. Right? You have heard that the Buddha is asking people to understand who am I. You go out of box and look at this. So what do you see? What's the problem? You don't understand. You don't worry about I. So what?
But then what's your purpose in life if you don't know who you are?
Well, this I is taught only in Buddhism, Buddhist teachings. All the other religions have no problem with I. They live a good life to your eyes, yes? Sometimes they are the most richest people in the world. Yes? They are the people who hold lots of titles, presidents and prime ministers, and very powerful people. So, not understanding I, have they been blocked by place in elevating their lives in the world? No. Come join with me your comments and thoughts. I want to think. I want you to think, not only to listen. What's wrong if you don't understand, if you don't want to understand the meaning of I? Coming to normal life, nothing is happening bad. Everything is good, even you don't worry about that. You see people, even have you heard about the former CEO Apple computers? Yes?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Jobs.
He became the richest man in the world twice, and the youngest to be like that. At the age of 50, all of a sudden, one morning, he was having a pain on the left side of his abdomen. On the way, he called the doctor, and the doctor wanted him to come to the clinic. It was a very special appointment. And there he wanted to stay in the hospital for a couple of days to undergo some testings. in those testings, he was diagnosed for him to have in pancreas cancer. Pancreas cancer is one of the worst because it spreads very fast. Right? Not like any other places. Cancer is so dangerous. It's become a monster when it is on the pancreas. And by 54, he was on his deathbed. And he couldn't talk. He was connected to mechanical and electronic life supporting machines. But something he uttered as the last words of his life is becoming viral in internet. You should listen to that. The last words of that man. Hit and see. So he says, with your money, on people's eye, he was such a big man. But to him, he suggests that with your money, you can hire a person to drive your car. Probably you can hire a person to earn for you. But you can't hire anyone to save you from the death. And he says you can, with your money, you can buy one of the expensive bed, but not a good sleep. With all your money, you can probably you can buy the most technical, high-tech medicines, but not the health. You see that? So when it comes to the common factors of aging, becoming ill, going into serious sicknesses, and finally when you confine yourself to the deathbed. So what value that person has from the wealth and all the titles that he earned during his life? Absolutely nothing. So no one has found some way to help him during these horrible events in his life. This is apart from the limitless suffering, painstaking efforts that he took to become. So he's a total suffering being. No divine philosophy, no divine theory, no divine religion has helped people to liberate from those happenings. And in between, many thousands times, broken expectations, competition, criticisms, and well, you know what to come in life. You got to go through as a total suffering being. That is where the understanding of I is important. Because the Buddha says, once you understand the meaning of I, you can liberate from I. Because the suffering is only with the wrong perception of I. It's not with the clear understanding of I. Yes, everything happens around me. Yes, things happening to me is very hurting, but the same thing happened to another is not hurting me. So this I receives all this, yes. This is where we need to talk about it, listen and understand, and as much as possible to try to escape from this to the level that you escape. Right? You get the freedom of freeing suffering from your life. This is not what only book says. This is what I experience in my life. And I was born in a small place, I would say Shanti, in one of the rural places in Sri Lanka. And the karma gave me the ability of learning. And I did it, and I was very fortunate enough to come to university, Colombo University, and there I got my degree. And my English was so poor that I can remember the first year when I go to lectures, I used to come out with empty paper. But there were guys who came from affluent schools. They, gather under trees, and I go there just like a small beggar, and I always, can I take your paper to copy? Some people refused. But I didn't give up. I got my graduation there, and plus, I did certain jobs. 13 years I was at one of the big companies in Sri Lanka, and finally I thought of starting something on my own. We started that small industry in one of our rooms, and it grew very fast because I was working 20 hours a day, every day. So I became a very rich man in Sri Lanka. In 28 years of involvement in my industry, I was on the pinnacle of wealth. And also I had a very nice family. Even today, I can always say that the Mahupasika, our wife, former wife, is much more virtuous than me. So I was such a lucky person. The day I left, they never cried. A lot of my friends, wealthy friends, business friends came home to stop me from becoming a monk because they saw it as a big injustice to my family. They were scolding me. And I can remember the family were just made me up big mouth shuts and were just looking at them, staring at them, empty eyes. And finally, Mahapasika said, why should I stop him? He's going to do a good thing. I should stop him if he's going to do a bad thing. Leaving her husband, leaving her in a time that a wife needs him, and a father leaving children from children's point of view at a time that they really need a person like as a father, their lovely father. That is how they donated me to the Buddha Sasana. So I wanted to become a Buddha. That's what I'm trying for, to enlighten myself. And also, when you become a monk, you got to split your life into two. With one part, you need to encourage you to do what you ordained for. It's a continuous practice of meditation to evoke the wisdom within you. It doesn't matter where you stay, in a nice temple like this, or whether you are in a cave in a jungle, right? It doesn't matter at all. And the other half, because when you become a monk, you become dependent. Parapatibaddha me jivikati, that is one first commandment in the Dasadhamma Sutra. There are 10 things that Buddha tells us to follow and contemplate always, day and night. Hereafter you become a monk, you are a different person, Buddha says. And your life is on everybody else's hand. You can't earn, right? The food and the robes, something to wear, something to eat, and some place to live. And when you are sick, your herbals or whatever the medicine, that has to come from people who are good with you. So you become a totally dependent person. So a wealthy businessman to monk life is black and white, and the sky and the grounds here. So see that? That's kind of a change. Where the change actually happens in the mind, not on the body. To shave a head and wear a robe is nothing. Anybody can do it. But ordain your mind is the biggest difficult thing in the world. Because once you do that, you got to keep it like that. So the natural tendency, because in the samsara, the cycle of birth, we have practice to become an ordinary person. But the tries when you want to liberate from yourself from ordinary has thousands of hindrances and obstacles. You need to penetrate them altogether with the courage. So, with the other half, you should teach Dhamma to the people who supported your life. That is what a monk should do. That is what we are doing right now here. So, my experience is that, we were happy. I was very happy when I am earning. I can remember the very first day I bought my car. I was a happy man. And every time I made a building, every time I bought a machine to my factory, every time I opened up supermarkets, every time I counted cash, every time my bank statement came with such a wealth in that, I was a happy man. But every morning I was getting up to earn something more. When you really think about it, I thought I am still not rich. I'm still a poor man. That is why you want to earn. If you are already rich, you should not earn. Yes, you are already rich. Not enough. So this was a prolonged journey of craving. That is where my mind hit. I want to start my life differently. I looked at my life. I was the happiest moments of my life. Everybody's happiest moments are school days. Yes. When we were in grade 5, 6, 7, remember? We had no responsibilities, no duties, no burden. We never wanted to eat, we never want to bathe, right? It's always on the running foot, smiling, cheering, talking to birds and playing in waters. And it took hours for us to come home, even the home was on the other side of the wall of the school, because such a light-hearted life. I wanted to go back because that was the most pure happiness. But you can't. Then I told myself, why you can't change your life to a child like that? Then I look back, my whole life was being plastered and decorated with lots of things right from that moment of my life. Yes, everybody's life is decorated with titles, with that and with these, families, bonds, responsibilities. Then I was not a guy who went to temple. I went to temple only to eat certain things set on the road in Dhammadeshana days. That was my priority. That is why I went to temple. I never went to Dhamma school also. But whatever you learn in the samsara, all of a sudden it wakes you up at some point, at a point when you are really ready. Then I wanted to leave everything and see what my happiness would be. So I can tell you for certain, and 28 was my earning, they made me a happy man, but unsatisfactory man. But when I start abandoning things, giving things away, keeping things aside, that gave me a clean happiness and sustainable, and it had a meaning. You see people collecting, there is a happiness gaining, and you start drain them happily, purposely, willingly, and there is a happiness too. That is what I personally achieving in my ordained life these days. Unlimited, never-ending, limitless happiness, not by gaining. The wealth around you is limited to the bowl and one robe. That's your total wealth. See how light you are. Yes. Rather than responsibilities, we have duties now. What's the difference? When it comes to responsibility, when you do something expecting something back. When it comes to duties, you do whatever you can. You don't expect anything back. So expectation makes you a suffering being. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So, monk's world is world without any expectations. Why not understanding I makes us a total suffering being is that you accumulate things around you. This is mine, this is my mother, this is my father, this is my car, this is my factory, this is my the place I work, this is my job, and my things like hundreds and thousands of posters and pasted on I. Now I is a big man. With my things, me things comes. I am so and so. I am a father. I am a monk. I am. Now you are a heavy burden person, big person. I is hidden. All this grown around I. A Brahmin, a young guy, a truth seeker in India. It was a land of truth seekers when Buddha arose. He was a wanderer, going here and there, without a firm destination, but meeting up teachers and asking them questions. He came to Buddha too one morning. Buddha had some few nice words with him. What are you, son? I'm a wanderer. Why are you wandering, son? I'm looking for something I have never found from other teachers. What is it, son? I want true happiness. That means a lot. That has a very deep meaning. I want true happiness. Then Buddha said, son, abandon I. That is wrong view. Abandon want. That is desire. What is left is the true happiness. Do you agree? I want happiness. I want true happiness. Why he could not find, why anybody can't find true happiness, he said, because of that wrong view, I, and the desire built around it. So people will never find the true happiness. True happiness means a happiness. It doesn't destroy with time and with other extra activities. It remains the same. It doesn't matter whatever happens to you. So see, the craving or the desire that we have built willingly around us to safeguard that wrong view by is putting you into misery always. So Buddha wants you to analyze I, and before that he wants us to practice certain things to break down that my things and the conceit, ego, mana. Yes? That is where those sila, samadhi, prajna means the virtues and the meditation, concentration and awakening wisdom that matters. In other words, eightfold noble path comes into play. Why? You need to crush the excess craving that you have built around your life and excess conceit and egos that you have willingly built on your life. Push it down, break it off, little by little. It is like a very old tree with very deeply rooted. Nobody can, pluck it out, pull it out. You need to do certain things like firstly trimming off all those big trees that has been grown, many number of worth, limitless samsara. We've been accumulating things due to craving. Craving is something that people like. Craving is what really wanted you to go to school for education. That the craving was there when you want to change schools. Craving was behind you always in learning and after that in earning too. That's what help you to find a good job. That's what help and wanted you to come to England. That's what you want to get married, have children, buy a car, house, everything is with the support of your craving. And it had been helping us for very thousands of number of births. When Buddha says, crush it, how really you can say yes to that, because that's your friend. In fact, in your wedding photo, you should have not with the other guy. Everybody's wedding photo should be with you and your craving, because it had been your constant partner, not only this life. Yes? So how you could abandon or crush or diminish something that had helped you to come to this stage? You just can't. To do that, we need to know the dangers of craving. Look, true that he's been with me all these years, all these births, pushing me towards those things, to achieve things. Without that, I couldn't have done that. But that was the first time you need to contemplate about the dangers and the suffering and what kind of problems you had trying to achieve certain things with the support of craving. You will understand once, if you have some courage to abandon everything and go put yourself in a solitary state, and you'll find you have nothing, absolutely nothing. Oh my dear, so much of dangers have gone. Those are the set of dangers that will arise when you associate the craving too much. Lesser the craving in your life, less problems. When you have a car, you have lots of problems and good benefits too. But if you don't have a car, little no benefit and more, less of lots of problems. Yes? But it doesn't stop us buying a car, because we have not really realized the real dangers of it. One small joy will going to dominate the rest of the suffering. It's like a child birth to a mother. 9 months, a mother suffers really. Can't eat whatever she wants, can't drink whatever she wants, can't sleep. All they'll want to protect, and so much of suffering undergoing in the body. But the mother doesn't show that from face, and never husbands understand too. But this 9 months, imagine 3 or 4 kilos of a baby. If 3 kilos is being hanged from the husband's neck or something like that, if he has to be there, be like that for 9 months, he has to take it to the office, he has to take it to the train, or going in the car, when you go to toilet, or in the bath, these 3 kilos must be hung on the neck. Would somebody do that? I don't think so. Right? But the mother does. But so much of painful 9 months, and imagine the delivery. That is only second to the pain of the death, delivering a baby. Only second to the pain of the death. The pain of the death nobody knows, because nobody comes here to tell us how painful it was. But, and the baby comes out with tearing apart all those apertures and things like that, and so much of pain is forgotten once the mother sees the face of the baby. That is exactly how we deal with the suffering. One small joy produced by those work based on craving is forgotten when those small joy comes to our life. So I is being surrounded by craving and the ego, and we are growing that to a big extent, so that we don't want to see the danger and the suffering part of it. So Buddha says, analyze I. He gives us a very nice example in one of those suttas. He got a simile. Actually, this was from even written in the Nagasena Milinda question and answers. So the Milinda, one prince from Sagala city in India, he heard that, he very profoundly gone through the Buddhist teachings, remembers everything. And there was no one to argue with him, make debates with him. And he heard that there was a monk called Nagasena, enlightened being. And people said he was a very intelligent person, he knows everything what Buddha says. And one day the king wanted to visit him. He went in his royal chariot to see Reverend Nagasena. And he paid all the due respects and asked, "What is your name?" The Thera said, "People call me Nagasena." It was a strange answer, isn't it? People call me. So it doesn't mean that it's not your name. Nagasena is not your name. Well, people say so. I'm Nagasena. So the dialogue goes on. So then the king asks, "Then who gives you all these things like food and robes and things like that? Who dies? Who falls sick? Who goes to the next birth?" And there's a big story. If there's no one there, and Most Reverend Nagasena, he takes the royal chariot as an example and say, "What do you think, king? Is it your wheels of this, or the crank of this, or the seats of this, or the robe of this, or the hoses of this, the chariot is called chariot?" "No, my lord, we don't call each part chariot." So is the I. Those things that has been there, here and there is not called by the name. And he says it's a concept. It's a convention. And he educated the king, saying that there are two truths in the world. One is the conventional truth. The other one is absolute truth, elementary truth. So some need to inspect more closely the conventions. Conventions are not to be thrown out, but to be learned, investigate. In those conventions lies the elementary world. So it is the opening gate to go to those elementary world where one would analyze and see very clearly who I am. In our plain modern world, I call it dating. If you want to find out, you got to do dating. Do you believe me? Are you with me? You got to date with yourself. Yes? Have you ever done that? No, we don't. We have no earnest linearity to do that. We want to date with others. Start dating with yourself today, from today. What are the dating sites? That dating is called Satipatthana. Yes. Analyzing myself. And that is a definite way of find the freedom. In Satipatthana Sutta they say, somebody devoted fully and completely, he might complete the analysis in 7 days. Buddha gives us that kind of a guarantee also. That was the only sutta that he says like that. Yes? So the dating is called Satipatthana. Kaya anupassana, Vedana anupassana, Chitta anupassana, Dhamma anupassana. What are we doing here in this anupassana? Anupassana is contemplating. You know, in investigation, we have something called anupassana and vipassana. Anupassana and vipassana. Anupassana is investigating conventions more closely. Can I tell you one small example? Like, from far we say a lady have a nice set of teeth. And we love that teeth, love that smile. That smile made her my wife. Maybe some people have stories like that. But investigate more closely those beautiful teeth and lips. How do you do that? Right? You got to put your head inside. You can't do that. Mix two senses which take photographs, other sense take the odor and things like that. Put those two senses in that nice little mouth. What would be our results? Analyze and shit. When the results come, yes, because the one smells one sensor smells, the other one takes the photography of 360 degrees of teeth and tongue and everything inside. When the results come out, that person will never ever say that is a beautiful mouth. Yes? Isn't that so? Close investigation gives us a more clearer picture, more close to the truth than how they appear to us. Yes? Yes. So convention is things how they appear to us. Elementary is how they are. But you got to walk through this convention gate. Anupassana is contemplating or investigating, inspecting more closely those things that had been in front of us as the convention. Then when you become qualified to go to Vipassana, Vipassana is very deep analyzing, special insight into convention. Actually, the contemplation, Anupassana contemplation are done by your own organs, own faculties, eyes and nose. But when it comes to Vipassana, it's been all the faculties are shut, because then you understand the faculties are not true. You can't. When you want to analyze something, you need to have an instrument with you. When you understand that instrument is faulty, and your results also become faulty, then you abandon all the equipments because they are faulty. Then you use one of the most accurate instrument. What is that? Your mind. And you let the mind to investigate more deeper into the subjects. That is called Vipassana, insight meditation. So Satipatthana is firstly analyzing in terms of Anupassana more closely who you are. And the very first step is to divide self into 32 pieces. And this is skin, this is teeth, this is nails. It removes things from the body and put it in bins, different bins, and finally you get that 2 bins. Imagine nice, pretty yourself is scrapped off, taken all those internal and external organs and put it into 32 bins. How would you look at it? I can imagine when you find in your sink a fallen hair of yours, how stinky feeling that you would see your own hair, yes, in your plate of rice. Nobody else, it's yours, right? And when you go to toilet, why you want to flush it as soon as possible? Because you don't want to see it. And that was there few days within your bowels with you, and you took him to 2 parties. You took them to the temple. Yes or no?
Yes.
That is how we closely analyze things that we think and say and appreciate as beautiful and fine. Once this deep analysis is done, you've come to a conclusion they are not as beautiful as we thought. They are not good as we thought. So the inclination and the bonds towards all those, they start reducing, yes? So the analysis does a change in your attitudes and concepts. So you are becoming what? You are becoming a person who holds sammaditi, from Mitta. And when it comes to Mitta, the T, that is wrong view, you never thought that is a wrong view. You just started understanding it, that is wrong. It can't be that right, firstly. And with time, with more investigation, no, it's wrong. You come to a conclusion. The view you thought right for all of samsara is becoming wrong now. You become ashamed of it. So then you understand that taking the new results in and your attitudes towards the external world and towards you becoming different now in terms of attachment. So likes and dislikes, the strength disappears. The whole world seems to look the same to you. Yes? There's no value in the world for you to get attached or to be hated. Why you should? There's no value. Because when the I disappears, the whole world disappears. That's why Buddha says once you completely realize I, you don't need this world. Because there's no I. You don't need anybody from this world. So the dating sites are what? Dating sites are not what you think. They are under trees. Under trees, the people, most unpreferable places for ordinary people. Yes, Rukka Mula Gatuva. Then the Aranya Gatuva, inhabitable for humans. Those are the places the Buddha recommends as dating sites. Then other one is what? Shunyagara Gatuva, non-approachable by humans. That is where you should go. Yes, because those silent surroundings help you to go into one-pointedness very easily. And with that sharp and penetrating mind, the world you see is not what the world you saw before. It's a completely different world. So you swim here and there in those elementary world, seen by the powerful mind of yours, and when you come back, you are not the person you went in. You are a different person. In terms of what? In terms of ease. Still, you deal with the world. You eat whatever you ate before. You smile with the people you smiled before. You do whatever. It's no problem, no change in that. But your interior is now different. The way you handle them is different. And you don't expect anything from the world because you are a different person now. Then you understand the suffering part is becoming lesser and lesser and lesser because I is disappeared. More suffering was with I. I is not a person. I is a concept, a view, acceptance of a personality. So Buddha says, Nipuggalo, Nijjivo, Nisatto. There's no being, no person. So his teachings are that, but we need to understand ourselves. So the starting is to diminish our excessive craving first. So for that you need to be a very generous person. Start from just £1. Giving. So those are called training. When we study, when we learn perfections of Bodhisattva, Paramita, all those practices and training he achieved during those life to become some Buddha. Without those training, nobody comes to even the closest position of the Nibbana or liberation. You really have to be a so generous one. Have you heard the stories where he donated his eyes? How many eyes he donated throughout the samsara is much more than the stars in the sky. It's not a simile. it is the truth. Because if someone comes to a hermit and asks for his eyes, what a notorious person, what a bad person. So imagine, throughout the samsara, if he happened to donate his eyes, he had done not to good people, to the most notorious people in the world. Yes. How many times he had left his kingdoms, how many times he had left his families. He did it for not for the sake of bad for them, but for the sake of good for all. So one person understanding the world radiates to the whole world, for them also to vibrate their minds to follow the path. That's how it is, because we are interdependent and we are interconnected. Things, living things and non-living things also interconnected in this universe. Whatever you do today here in this hall is going to affect the whole universe tomorrow. So you see, when the Buddha says, peace is not without, peace is within. Those are the final solutions for all those bloodsheds and wars and hatred and things like that. We got to build peace within. The peace awakes when the I disappears. Okay, thank you very much. I took lots of time from you. I hope it meant a lot for you, but I really like to get your comments and any questions pertaining to the subject.
It is quite interesting, and I learned it as I. There is no I, there is no mama person.
Yeah, to understand that, as I said, firstly we have to reduce our craving by giving.
Yeah.
Dana is something that Buddha, everybody gives. I mean, we don't need a religion for that. But you must give not because somebody else tells you to give. Not because Buddha tells you to give. Keep Buddha and everybody away. You must contemplate the dangers of not giving and the good results of giving. By giving, that is the only instrument it can scrap off your excessive craving. Right? I always say, ridenna denna. Right? If you start giving things, it should hurt you. Then that is a sign that it had big part has been scrapped away. Right? You can start with small, but little by little, give it, and I will understand one day, if I give this to you, I am going to be hungry today. But if you can make me your mind up, no, I'm going to give him, because if he fills his stomach, then I feel it too with my happiness. So happiness of giving must be built. Where generally what we build is happiness of gaining. Gain and be happy. Give and happy. That's the change. So not only that, I'm not talking in terms of, you can donate your time, you can donate your skills. Yes? Yeah. They are costless, but priceless. And you can donate your the physical energy. Right? If you don't have wealth, you don't have anything, but, well, I'm a good guy, I have strength. Help somebody with that strength. That way you slowly diminish and crack open those concrete built craving. A perfect giver. Then, titles. I heard very recently during a Pinkama here, our most reverend monk, lots of people, lots of monks came from all over England. But the story I heard that he never mentioned those titles of the monks who came here. Right? He receives the permission from the most venerable monks only. No titles being talked. When I heard that story from another monk, I say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Because those titles have misguided the monks. More they want, more they misguide. And I hail him, his attitude of taken months out of those shells by addressing him with their plain status. Yes? So we must contemplate, put that to ourselves. What do I have in excess so special for me to become big? Then you will understand that when you practice on the path, you feel that you are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and again, one day you will understand that I am the smallest in this world. That is where the biggest your nature comes. Because transferring your ordinary life to Arya, noble state, has to be through a small tube. Just like a refill of a pen, that small. So in this ordinary life, you have to be real small to creep through to the Arya state. Enlightened person is the smallest person. It is how small? Is completely disappeared, dust. That small. Because no craving, no ego is a miracle of dust. Any questions?
No, that's, you covered most of the things I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any comments?
Had more time to listen to, but
Oh, if I took that real time, I can talk hours, not days, about what Buddha said about I. Because so much he promoted the practices for us to abandon I. It becomes golden when you practice them, really.
Talk was quite enlightening.
yeah,
Thank you.
I learned.
How about you?
Very enlightening. Thank you.
Thank you. You, ma'am?
It was a lot to think about.
Take your time. How about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. Very interesting, a lot to think about. I'm actually thinking about, like, when you say about removing I, but as lay people, we have to have a purpose in life, right? So then where does that I come in? Because we have, like, say for example, we have our parents, we have our sisters, so then we have a purpose. We have to do something for them. Then if I remove myself from that and go on the path of achieving the truth,
Liberation, yes.
liberation,
Yes.
then what happens to them?
You can do better. Because I hold certain good things from you doing to others because of the craving and the conceit. When the I disappears, the only difference is that when I is there, you do giving, but with little bit of suffering. When I is disappeared, you do the same thing without suffering. The suffering part is always connected with the wrong view of I, because that nourish the concept of craving and the ego. All three together, that is called prapancha in Pali. In Buddha Desha, it's called prapancha. Prapancha is nibbana. The day that you completely crushed and abandoned those three things. These three things nourish each other. Wrong view, the ego, and the craving. Right? You just can't remove one. You can make them smaller altogether, little by little. Nice thing happen is that, whatever you do to one of those three, this is effect to all three. Yes? You don't need to take one. Take one and do something to that to crush. And you will see that other two also getting weaker. That is how you should. The practice is weakening all those three. Yes? Okay. Okay,
Thank you so much. It's a great insight, actually. Whole Buddhist teaching have summarized by philosophy has been summarized. Very, very interesting. When I heard your life story as a layperson, I remember I have read a book, a monk who has given up his Ferrari.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah, no. We never had Ferrari that time in Sri Lanka. If we had, I probably have bought one.
That story also similar to your life story as well. I think a lot of actually sayings of the Buddha, when I listened to you, I came to, I reflected upon in my mind, like this fathom long body, I declare the world.
Yes.
And I declare the origin of the world, and within this fathom long body. So I understand all of these things, this illusory perception of I, collect all these things and make a lot of suffering in our lives. I really, really enjoyed that. Again, it's such a deep inside. A lot of things the Buddha said, Attanang kave seyata. Investigate yourself.
Itself.
Yeah, Attanang kave seyata. That is sitting under a tree and closing one's eyes is look inward, not outward, and through the mental eye observe what is in us, going us at the present moment. Then this I, so-called I, disappear temporarily. Then, but temporarily we have a great freedom.
Great freedom of happiness.
But again, this illusory perception, because of our unenlightened nature of our mind, it again conditions our mind.
Yes.
So therefore, vipassana knowledge is actually is the tool to
eradicate that permanently.
Yes, this is a very important dialogue discussion with your Dhammato. It's a great release actually.
Mr. Ratnagi didn't come in because he's the owner of our temple.
Yeah.
These two are running the temple. So give us a comment, please.
No, it's absurd.
It's only a topic, not a comment.
Explain. Of course, it's not easy to cover in 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes. As you said, you can talk about it.
Yeah, got it in a nutshell, yes. And this nice lady was asking me, how come your English is that good when you say that you are living in one of those caves in Situlpawa? She asked.
Situlpawa is a very forest monastery, isn't it?
2,300 years old.
Situlpawa, there were in the Rasamahini book, there were thousands of enlightened monks lived in Situlpawa.
12,000s.
Yeah, 12,000.
It's scripted on the rock.
Were you living there or were you ordained
Yeah,
there?
first 5 years I was in Situlpawa, yes. It's a royal place for people interested in meditation, because the bhumi gives you big help. That I have felt, because I'm a wanderer, I'm a traveling monk. So I used to meditate wherever I am, getting freedom and lowliness. But this place was royal to me, and that's why lots of monks come there to meditate, and they become successful.
When sometimes that, like your talk today, when people listen, if there is no I who attain nirvana, they ask that question.
Yeah, nirvana is when the I disappears.
Yeah.
Without leaving any fragment of atta and mana. That state is called nibbana, isn't it?
Yes. For a moment, we were very much absorbed by your talk actually. Very grateful to you for giving such a deep
Because I think back to my
sharing.
childhood and when we went to school and the temple and the monks were teaching, so it went back to that stage
Yes.
in Sri Lanka.
When you said that you didn't learn English as a young child, at what age did you start learning English?
Actually, we jumped out of the window when the English teacher comes to the classroom. That type of a guy I was, and also I had no interest of learning English when I came to university. If I don't know whether you believe this or not. I have not gone through Tripitaka as well.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. But I have never had teachers for my meditation, but I have profoundly practiced all 40 ways of Vipassana and Anupassana. And I had no teachers for anyone except for my ordination. This is exactly why it said the Buddha's word, how right that is, because whatever you practice this life is not going to die with your death. It's going to be carried forward well for you. Probably I have practiced these things during samsara, so when I come to this life, with those merits, it gave me a nice life to rise myself from scratch to another wealthy person. Also, it gave me permission to enjoy the material wealth and pleasure, and also it all of a sudden put me onto a boat where to sail towards Nibbana. So when I don't know whether you believe it or not, if you really ask me, not more than 25 or 30 suttas I have gone through in Tripitaka. But if you ask me anything from Tripitaka, I might not tell you the Pali terms, but I tell you the meaning. I can.
All that you have gathered from your own...
Yes. I am not a book reader, but I am a thinker. Any small thing in my life I like to...
I think so was Buddha. He wasn't a reader as much as he.
Yeah, he says... in our society, because he was born, he was in the humanity, he was just a ordinary person. Sometimes he was a shepherd, and when he comes to the animal kingdom, he was a swan and a deer and a hare, all kind of lives. But nobody knew that he is going to be a Sambuddha one day. Not even himself knew that. Where he was born, Yashodhara was born as his wife. And she never knew that this husband is leaving her when she was really young. And that guy is going to be Sambuddha one day. So, in this room, there may be people who will become Sambuddha one day, who knows? That is why the Buddha says to respect everyone. Because you don't know, you never know that he is going to be such great guy one day in the future. Maybe this life. Very recently, my Sunday talk, I told them, never compare monks because he is coming from this temple, because he is the PhD holder, because he has so many titles, because he is old, because he is new, he is a Samanera. Never compare them. Treat them just like you're treating enlightened beings, because no one knows the interior of that person, right? Every time you want to join some title and compare, because you are doing a big mistake, and it is a sin, because when the discrimination comes, part of our mind is with hatred, because we want to see the difference. It's not a good mind. You see that? Treat everyone, all the monks, as enlightened beings. Then you are doing your best.
So in that context, you don't compare yourself with anybody else?
No.
You are unique, in other words.
I am just a small guy in the monk's order. I like to be
Not yourself, I mean even ourselves. We are all unique in our own way.
Yes, you should not compare, because you never know what he will become one day. Right? So whatever the practices you do, seek in the truth this life, it never go waste. You can see the results within this life or next lives to come. Isn't it Venerable said? Never disrespect anyone, never discriminate anyone. Who knows? That's why I said when he speech, he disregarded all the title of the monks who came to the ceremony. I the one who said sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Because that was the very first time I heard one of the senior monk took that step. Right? So it is very important, as we discuss, not to give a good place for the ego, for the titles, things that made me big. So in the Samyutta Nikaya, we have a set of suttas. Firstly, it is Matugama Sutta. That's the area where the Buddha advised the monks to be careful with seen things. Then he goes to the next para, and the hindrances and dangers for a bhikkhu. මොකක්ද ඒකට කියන්නේ? ලාභ සිලෝකම් කදහනේ සුත්තමේ. I'm sorry, I missed the name of the sutta. There are 6 suttas under that topic, where Buddha wants monks to be very careful of titles, gains, and the popularity. Because he says it's all work of Mara to drag the monk out of the course. So it is more dangerous than Matugama means ladies for a monk, because the lady you can see and you can feel, yes, but this is unseen. It creates within you. It looks very innocent, but that definitely Labha Sakkara Siloka Sutra. Labha Sakkara Siloka Sutra. So he advised monks to his sons to go away from those, and also it is a good lesson for people who try to introduce title to these great monks to make them off-road. Yes?
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, on behalf of our Dayakas, I'm very grateful. Thank